water and minerals in the body. We'll look at water functions and the importance of water. We looked at it a little bit when we talked about fitness. We'll look at it some more because we can. We'll look at the different fluid compartments, intake needs and sources, output and losses. We'll talk about dehydration and intoxication or overhydration, and the electrolytes, sodium, potassium, and chloride. Minerals are inorganic elements that are found naturally in the earth. We talked about vitamins as being organic compounds, meaning they contain a number of different elements. Minerals are inorganic individual elements. They're divided into major and trace. Major are found in greater than 5 grams in the proverbial reference body, and trace are less than 5 grams in the reference body. It also means we have more of the major minerals and less of the trace minerals in our body. It has nothing to do with the importance. It just has to do with the amounts that are found inside our body. And since the major minerals are found in greater amounts, we require larger amounts of them in our diet. Major minerals include the electrolytes sodium, potassium, and chloride. Major minerals in the bone include calcium, phosphorus, and magnesium. And in our lean body mass or protein, sulfur is the major mineral. Trace minerals include iron, copper, iodine. You can look at these. The only one we're going to be covering is iron. We need them in milligram or microgram amounts depending on the nutrient and depending on whether they're major minerals or trace minerals. The amounts are also based on age, gender, and physiological condition. Are you growing? Are you an adolescent going through your growth spurt? Are you pregnant? Are you lactating? All of these can have an effect on how much your diet should provide. We'll talk about some of the essential minerals, and if you recall our definitions of essential, when you have inadequate or deficient intake over time, deficiency signs and symptoms will develop that should reverse once those nutrients are added back into the diet. Should, assuming that it hasn't gone too far. And also when you consume in excess, UL stands for upper limit, toxicity signs and symptoms may develop over time. Some foods or food groups provide a good source of certain minerals and not others. The example I like to give is milk. Milk is an excellent source of calcium, but it is lousy for iron. One of my first jobs was as a WIC dietitian in Pennsylvania. Women, Infant, and Children Supplemental Feeding Program. We would evaluate families on whether or not we could provide them with vouchers for food based on their diet and financial situation. Many times children would be iron deficient. When I would talk to the parent, I would find out that they'd been giving their children a lot of milk because, well, milk's a good source of protein and it's also a good source of calcium, but these kids would fill up on the milk and not be hungry for foods that would provide them with the iron. In general, as always, eat a wide variety of foods from each of the food groups and drink fluids to meet your mineral and water needs. Water, we know what water is. It's an inorganic compound composed of 2 hydrogen atoms and 1 oxygen atom. Dihydrogen monoxide, one of my favorite chemical forms to talk about. In our body, water provides a medium for chemical reactions. It participates in energy formation. All reactions in the body involve enzymes, energy, and water. Water regulates nutrient and waste products. Our blood is mostly water, and it's responsible for taking nutrients to the cells and removing waste products from the cells. It helps to regulate body temperature. It acts as a lubricant and cushion and helps to maintain fluid volume. We'll talk more in a bit about the different fluid compartments, but for now, let me just introduce you to what's the different compartments found inside and outside the cell. Within the cell, we refer to this as the intracellular compartment, of which potassium is the major mineral. And since it's in a charged form, it's referred to the major intracellular electrolyte. Outside the cell, or extracellular compartment, the major electrolytes are sodium and chloride. While there aren't specific recommendations for fluid, and my general recommendation is to, with barring any specific health situation, to drink when you're thirsty. Here's a guideline that if you wish to use it, it's fine. In a few minutes, we'll talk about how a lot of the foods that we consume, fruits, vegetables, even ice cream, contain a lot of water. There's no upper limit for water, but certainly you can consume too much water. Those of you that go to class with your gallon of water, if you sat in that one sitting and drank that water, you would exceed your upper limit in that period of time, and you would have some problems with your kidneys. Some of these levels may not be optimal for folks. Keep in mind that physical activity and heat stress can affect how much water you need. No, you don't need to remember these numbers either. From this picture, you're supposed to understand, though, over time, intake from food, from liquids, and the amount produced when you have reactions going on in the body, though that's what metabolism refers to, should be equal to the amount that we lose, not just through urine, but through feces. When we exhale CO2 and water, and through our skin. Over time, fluid intake and fluid losses should be equal. Optimal fluid intake and output helps us to have healthy skin. It helps maintain body weight and urine volume. If you're drinking a lot of water, your body doesn't need, what the body doesn't need, it will excrete. So the urine will be dilute and produced at a faster rate. This is when your urine is lighter in color. If you're not drinking enough fluid, your urine will be more concentrated and it will be produced at a slower rate. I asked a renal kidney doctor once, because students want to know, what color is your urine supposed to be? And she said, excluding any type of kidney condition, whatever color it is. If you're drinking a lot of water, then it'll be lighter in color because your body is excreting what it doesn't need. If you're not drinking enough fluid or not getting enough fluid, your body will hold on to that water and you will produce less urine and it will be darker in color. So the color of your urine is not an indication of your health unless you've been sick, right? Let's put that asterisk there. With insufficient intake and excretion, though, dehydration can occur. And this is over time. Some of the adverse effects of dehydration: when your body needs more fluid than it's getting, a 1 to 2% body loss. So the effects of dehydration would include thirst, fatigue, weakness, loss of appetite. But as that weight loss continues, when your dehydration is prolonged, the symptoms, well, can be fatal.